2 minutes. That's the whole thing. 6 small movements done before your coffee, before you pick up your phone, before you say a single word to anyone. And before we start, I want you to do something. Go and look at your face for 3 seconds. Just 3. Pay attention to 2 things: how heavy your eyes feel, and how puffy the skin underneath them looks. Remember those 2 things, because at the end of this video I'm going to ask you to check them again. Now here's the problem we're actually solving. The face you see at 7 in the morning is not the face you see at 11. By 11, you've been upright for hours. You've been talking, chewing, moving. And somewhere in there, without you noticing, your face quietly fixed itself. You spend the first 3 or 4 hours of every single day waiting for that to happen. And it's not just how you look. It's the heaviness behind the eyes, the tight jaw, the odd fog that sits over everything until somewhere around the second cup of coffee. Most people have quietly accepted that as the price of being awake. It isn't. It's a body that hasn't been switched back on yet. We warm up before exercise. We stretch after sitting too long. And the one part of the body that we use non-stop, that talks, chews, blinks, and shows every hour of sleep we didn't get, goes straight from the pillow to the mirror to the front door with no transition at all. So here's the strange part. Your face is not ordinary skin. Square inch for square inch, it is one of the most densely wired surfaces on your entire body. The nerve that carries sensation from your forehead, cheeks, and jaw feeds an enormous amount of information straight into your brainstem, the part of your brain that handles being awake. Your hands and your face take up a wildly disproportionate share of the brain's sensory map compared to your back or your leg, which means touch on the face isn't a small signal, it's a loud one, and nobody uses it. Let me just show you. First movement. Do this with me now. Rub your palms together, hard, fast, until you feel heat build between them. Then cup them over your closed eyes, not pressing on the eyeball. I want to be very clear about that, because rubbing directly into your eyes is a genuinely bad habit, and I'd rather you never do it. The eyeball doesn't need pressure, the bone around it does. So cup your palms, sit in that warmth and darkness for 2 seconds, then bring your fingertips to the ridge of bone under your eyebrow. Find it. It's right there, just below the brow line. Press gently and make tiny circles along that ridge, working from the inner corner near your nose, outward toward the temple. Then drop down to the bone under your eye and follow that ridge the same way, inside to outside, small circles. Light pressure. 15 seconds. Now stop and notice what changed. The area is warmer. Your eyelids feel like they belong to you again, instead of just hanging there. A lot of people's eyes water slightly, and there's a lightness across the brow that wasn't there 20 seconds ago. You felt that. That's the entire point of this video. You don't have to take my word for any of it, because your own face reports back within seconds. Now compare that to what you normally do at this exact moment in the morning. Most people do one of 2 things. They splash cold water on their face, which feels sharp for about 4 seconds and then wears off completely. Or they skip straight to product, cleanser, cream, whatever's on the shelf, applied to a face that is still, cold, and effectively asleep. There's nothing wrong with either. They're just not doing the thing you assume they're doing. Cold water is a shock, not a warm-up, and a cream is a topping. Neither one wakes the muscle underneath, and neither one moves a single drop of the fluid that's making your eyes look the way they do. 15 seconds of contact did more than either. That's the pattern for this whole routine, small, specific, and aimed at the thing that's actually causing the problem. And now the anatomy actually means something. The skin around your eyes is the thinnest skin anywhere on your body, with almost no fat underneath it to hide anything. So it's the first place fluid shows up, and it's the place where the smallest change is the most visible. Shift a little fluid out of your cheek, and nobody notices. Shift the same amount out from under your eye, and you look like you slept an extra hour. So that's 1 movement done, and there are 6 in total. And I want to give you the map now, because the 6 aren't all doing the same job. The first 3 wake the face up. Nerves, muscles, blood flow. The last 3 move something out. 2 completely different problems. 2 completely different techniques. And the order between them matters more than anything else I'm going to tell you. You've just done one of the 3 wake-up movements. Here's the second. Slide your fingers outward from your temples until you reach your ears. Now, one fact about ears, and it's the only one you need. The outer ear, the part you can actually touch, is the single place on the entire surface of your body where a branch of the vagus nerve comes up to the skin. The vagus is the long nerve running from your brainstem down into your chest and abdomen, and it's the main highway of the calm, resting side of your nervous system. Almost everywhere else, it's buried deep. On your ear, it's sitting right under your fingertips. So this is not just rubbing an ear. Take the top edge of each ear between thumb and index finger and pull gently up and outward. Work down the outer rim, squeezing and releasing as you go, all the way to the lobe. Give the lobes a soft tug downward. Then lay your whole palm flat over the ear and rub in slow circles. Forward a few times, then back 15 seconds. That's it. Your ears will go hot, genuinely hot, and that heat isn't friction. It's blood arriving somewhere it hadn't reached all night. There's so little tissue in an ear that the change registers fast there than anywhere else on your head. Check something for me. If you slept on one side, one ear will feel duller than the other when you start. Almost everyone finds this. Spend a few extra seconds on that side and let it catch up. And notice what happens after. Not in your ears, but in your head. Most people describe it as things getting quieter and clearer at the same time, which is strange, because on paper this looks like the least important 15 seconds of the entire routine. It usually turns out to be the one people keep, 2 down. One more before everything changes. And for this one, think about what you do when you need to wake somebody urgently. You don't rub their arm slowly. You tap, quick, light, repeated taps, and they surface far faster than if you'd shaken them. There's a reason that works, and it's the reason most facial massage does nothing. Steady, continuous pressure is something your nervous system adapts to and tunes out within seconds. Rapid, changing contact is something it can't ignore. Sensory nerves respond to change. Tapping is nothing but change, so bring both hands up, fingers loose, and tap your face with your fingertips. Light and quick like rain. Forehead first, all the way across, down to the cheeks, covering the whole cheekbone, along the jawline, gently around, not on, the eyes, temples, back across the forehead, 20 seconds. This should never hurt, and spend a few of those seconds on the jaw specifically. A lot of people hold tension there all night without any idea they're doing it. The muscle that closes your jaw sits right at the corner of your face, where the jawline meets the ear. Press there and clench your teeth, and you'll feel it bulge. That's the one. Tap along it, then let your mouth fall open and move your jaw slowly side to side. Notice how much of your face changes shape when that single muscle finally lets go. Your face should be flushed now, and warm and awake. That flush is blood coming to the surface, which is how oxygen and nutrients reach skin tissue in the first place. It isn't permanent and it isn't magic, but the difference between skin that's been completely still for 8 hours and skin that's just had circulation brought back to it is something you can see from across the room. 3 movements. Under a minute. And if you stopped right here, you'd already be ahead of where you normally are at this point in the morning. But don't stop here, because this is the part you don't want to skip, which brings us to the halfway point, and to the thing that most people never get to, because everything we've done so far wakes the face up. Nerves, muscles, circulation. And none of it, not 1 second of it, solves the other problem. The fluid is still there. And this is where almost every version of this routine you've seen stops. Rub, tap, done. Face feels nice for 10 minutes. That's not wrong, it's just half a job. The stimulation half is the easy half. It's the half you can feel instantly, which is exactly why it's the half everyone teaches. The next 3 movements are the ones that actually change what you see in the mirror an hour later. They're slower, they're lighter, and if you get one detail wrong, they do nothing at all. So let me tell you what's actually happening up there while you sleep. Running alongside your blood vessels is a second network called the lymphatic system, and its whole job is drainage. It collects the fluid that leaks out of your blood vessels into the surrounding tissue all day, filters it, and returns it to your bloodstream. But it has no pump. Your blood has a heart. Every second of your life it pushes blood through you, whether you're awake, asleep, running, or sitting. Lymph has nothing like that. It moves on muscle contraction, on movement, on breathing, on pressure from outside the vessel. So when you lie flat and still for 8 hours, barely moving, barely swallowing, facial muscles doing almost nothing, the drainage in your face slows down to almost nothing too. That's the real reason you wake up puffy. not because something toxic built up overnight. Because the drainage crew clocked off while you were asleep. So the second half of this routine isn't about waking anything. It's about moving something, and it works in the opposite way to everything you just did. Now, most people get this completely backwards, and I did too for years. They start on the face. They push and drag at their cheeks, hard, because that's what massage feels like it should be. And then they wonder why nothing much changes. 2 reasons. First, pressure. These vessels are shallow. They run just under the surface of the skin, above the muscle. Digging in, kneading, working out a knot. All of that pushes straight past them. The correct pressure here feels almost too gentle to be doing anything. If your skin is sliding rather than being pushed into, you've got it right. Second, and this is the big one, direction. Unlike blood, which travels in a loop, this is a one-way system. It only flows toward one place. Everything your face drains has to end up at the base of your neck, just above your collarbone. That's where lymph from your entire head and neck empties back into a large vein and rejoins your bloodstream. That's the exit door. And if the exit is closed, nothing you do further up the face moves anywhere at all. You can sweep and press and massage for 10 minutes, and you're just pushing fluid up against a shut door. So forget the anatomy for a second and hold on to one idea, because it's the only thing you need to remember for the rest of this video. Open the exit. Move everything toward it. Send it out. 3 movements. That's movements 4, 5, and 6. Number 4 opens the exit. Plie your fingers flat just above your collarbone, both sides, in that soft hollow at the base of the neck. Very light pressure, the weight of a couple of fingers resting on skin, no more. Make slow, small circles there, or press softly and release, 10 or 12 times. And take a deep breath while you do it, a long, slow inhale and a longer exhale, because the pressure changes in your chest when you breathe deeply. Help draw fluid through that final junction. And I know how underwhelming that feels. It feels like you're not doing anything. That's the correct sensation. If you find yourself pressing harder because it doesn't feel like enough, you've just closed the door you were trying to open. Hard pressure on the neck squashes exactly the vessels you're trying to encourage. Light wins here. Light always wins here. That's the door open. Number 5 brings everything toward it. Start at the center of your forehead, between your brows. Lay your fingers flat. Flat, not fingertips. You want a broad, soft surface. And sweep outward toward your temples. Slow, light. 3 or 4 times. Then down. From the inner corner of your eye, sweep out along the top of the cheekbone toward the ear. 3 or 4 times. From beside your nose, out across the cheek to the ear. From the center of your chin, along the jawline, out to the ear. Notice the pattern. Everything moves outward, and everything ends at the ear. That isn't arbitrary. There's a cluster of collection points sitting right in front of and behind each ears. That's the gathering station for the whole face. Every sweep you just did delivered fluid to the same place, which leaves you with a problem. And this is why the last movement matters more than the 5 before it. You've collected everything. You haven't sent it anywhere. Right now, all of it is sitting at your ears, halfway through a journey, and if you stop here, the previous 5 movements were essentially preparation for something that never happened. The 6th movement isn't just the last step, it's the one that makes the other 5 mean anything. Here it is. Plie 2 or 3 fingers flat just in front of your ear. Now sweep straight down the side of your neck, following the line of that long muscle running from behind your ear, down toward your collarbone. One smooth stroke, all the way down to that hollow above the collarbone where you started. That's the route. Face to ears, ears to the base of the neck. Out. 5 or 6 times on each side. Then finish exactly where you began, a few light circles above the collarbone, because that's the exit, and the last thing you do should be opening it one more time. That's the complete sequence. And now step back and look at what those 6 movements actually were, because they were never one routine. They were 2. The first 3 were a wake-up. Warm the eyes, wake the ears, tap the face. Fast, stimulating, sensory, designed to be noticed by your nervous system. The last 3 were a drainage. Open the collarbone, sweep the face to the ears, run it down the neck. Slow, light, directional, designed to move fluid that has nowhere else to go. And that's why the order can't be reversed. The waking up half brings circulation and muscle movement to the face, which is exactly what the drainage half needs in order to work. Remember, that drainage system has no pump of its own. It runs on movement. So the first 3 movements aren't a warm-up for you. They're a warm-up for the last 3. You're not doing 6 things. You're preparing a system, then draining it, which is also why this is so easy to remember once you've done it twice. You don't need to memorize 6 movements or a single anatomical term. You need 1 sentence and 1 direction. Wake it up, then send it down, 4 verbs, and you'll never need to watch this video again. Wake the muscles, wake the nerves, move the blood, open the drain. A few practical things, because 2 minutes only works if you actually do it. Do it at the sink, standing up. Upright matters. You're working with gravity, not against it, and lying in bed doing this undoes half the point. Do it on bare skin before anything goes on your face. Dry hands are fine for the first 3 movements. For the last 3, a little moisturizer or oil helps your fingers glide instead of dragging, and dragging on that thin skin is the one thing you want to avoid. If you're rushed, don't shorten all 6. Do the first movement and the last 3. Waking the eyes and clearing the drainage route are the parts you'll actually see, and attach it to something you already do without thinking. Right after you brush your teeth is the easiest anchor there is, because you're already standing at the mirror with 2 free hands. Habits that get attached to existing habits survive. Habits that need their own slot in the morning don't. Now, let me be honest with you about what this does and doesn't do, because I'd rather you keep doing it than quit in a week feeling let down. The change in puffiness, color, and alertness is immediate. You'll see it the first time. What isn't immediate is anything structural. 2 minutes of this will not change the shape of your face or erase a line, and anyone telling you otherwise is selling something. What it does do every single morning is get you to the face and the head you'd otherwise be waiting until mid-morning to reach. Over a few thousand mornings, that's not a small thing. One more thing worth saying plainly. This is a routine for a normal morning face. Swelling that doesn't settle during the day, swelling on one side only, pain, or anything new that's getting worse. That's a conversation with your doctor, not something to massage away. And if you've had surgery or treatment involving your lymph nodes, ask your doctor before you start. Now go back to the mirror. Look at the 2 things I asked you to remember at the beginning. How heavy your eyes felt. How the skin underneath them looked. Don't take my word for any of it. That's the whole reason I asked you to look before we started. Because this is one of the very few things you can test on yourself in real time, on the first attempt, with no equipment and no waiting. Either the eyes are lighter or they aren't. Either there's color in your face or there isn't. And if the difference is small this morning, do it again tomorrow. The routine works better on a face that's used to it, the same way any warm-up does. That took 2 minutes. No product, no equipment, nothing you had to buy. Just a pair of hands you already own and 6 movements in the right order. If you noticed a difference, share this with someone who wakes up looking more tired than they actually feel. And tell me in the comments which of the 6 you felt most. For most people it's the ears, and they're always surprised by it. Make it a good morning.